Hello everyone and welcome to Turkish soap opera. In today's video we reveal the dramatic truth suddenly revealed by Hunkar's mother Hannine. Before starting, leave a nice like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss all the next videos. Finally, leave a comment to share your emotions. Life in the Hamminne estate is flowing almost peacefully. In fact, the members of the family are in the living room in a moment of relaxation. Demir is reading the newspaper and the two women Hunkar and Zulia are conversing amiably. Granny is sitting as always on her sofa talking to her ghosts and, every now and then coming out of her mental torpor, she participates in very small fragments of discussions and then returns to her world made up of meaningless phrases, uttered at random or cheerfully singing sudden ditties. But now we discover the shocking truth that sweet Granny will reveal. Watch the video to the end because you will discover unthinkable things. The family is experiencing a rather rare moment, given the various vicissitudes that occur inside this house. Suddenly the grandmother begins to speak as if she were telling a moment of her life, but in doing so her expression changes completely. She no longer looks like the sweet Granny Hamminne, but she looks more like a very tough, determined and even mean warrior. She starts talking to herself with her head down and tells of truths that shock everyone. At first none of the family members pay attention to her, thinking they are the usual ghosts. Then they look at each other's faces very amazed, and when she starts to get into very precise details the attention of Hunkar, Demir and Zulia changes totally. They are dumbfounded by what Hamminne is saying. Hunkar is very upset as she vividly replays in her mind situations that she was forced to experience in her past. Forced by two insensitive and upstart parents who never thought for a moment of their daughter's happiness, but exclusively of economic interest, thus forever destroying a girl's dreams and a future that would certainly have been different. Demir, listening to Hamminne's words, is totally shocked, discovering a truth he never, ever thought to find out about his father, and as he listens, he looks at his mother in amazement, realizing that the image he had of the happy family, it was never real. But she was founded only on enormous hypocrisy linked only to economic interests, to get rich by trampling on the dignity, dreams and desires of a young girl who is still helpless in the face of two harsh and selfish parents. Zulia listens in silence and she seems to hear the story of a part of her life. She almost looks like a copy and she pastes and looks at the matriarch Hunkar tough and determined, with other eyes. In the meantime, the grandmother continues undaunted in her story and returns with her mind when her daughter was little more than a teenager and seems to still be talking to that girl as she says, "Hunkar, we decide your life, your father and I. If you think to be able to live love you were really wrong. We will never reward you for continuing to carry on with your illusion of being able to conclude a love affair with that Fakeli Ali Rahmat. That poor fellow who hangs around you and who will never give you any security. So your father has decided that from today you won't even be allowed to talk to him anymore. We will erase him from your life." And as he said this sentence, he added many bad words, then continuing, "You are our daughter and you must follow what we tell you. For our welfare you will have to marry Adnan Yaman. We really don't care that you can love because we know that only Adnan can give you happiness as we understand it, making you the matriarch of Cukurova. Becoming his wife will enable us to live a life of ease too. So as of today, your father and I have made this decision. Your dreams stop here. From today he will change your life forever." Then looking up at her daughter who looks at her broken, but also amazed at how her mother Hamminne managed to return to that moment with so much lucidity, as if her brain that had been asleep for years had awakened again and suddenly even his gaze has returned to having that same wickedness and hardness of that period. As if the evil inside her had awakened. Then after shocking everyone, she suddenly bows her head and starts humming again, assuming the sweet expression of the granny that everyone loves. Hunkar just doesn't know how to release the tension that has built up in the room. Demir looks at her as if to question her with her eyes and would love to hear her words from her mouth that cancel what she has heard. Because for him they drop a myth. His father, whom Demir has always revered, believing he was a good and powerful person. While from the words that came out of the grandmother's mouth, so precise and pungent, came a picture of a man who abused and raped a little girl who became his wife and who continued, until her death, to mistreat and despise, offending her and humiliating her, continuing to betray their marriage, which for him was only a cover in the eyes of the people, while he lived his parallel lives dating all the women he wanted and where he wanted. While Granny continues to hum softly, Hunkar tries to hold back the tears that have welled up in her eyes. Looking back on those terrible moments, she relives her unpleasant memories of her again, and this time she is further humiliated in front of her son. Hunkar has always kept that truth hidden as if it were a secret that ended up in her grave with her husband, and she never, ever wanted Demir to discover that truth that reveals what a bad person she was, her father. A person always ready to betray Hunkar, with stories and adventures of which she openly boasted in public and even in convivial events right in front of his wife. Demir is really shocked and doesn't know whether to believe everything he has heard, while Zulia looks at Hunkar with much more understanding eyes and understands that a part of their life has many things in common. Both had to let a love die that they were living in their hearts so intensely. Both were humiliated as women, and both became objects of possessive and powerful men with different initial intentions, but very similar paths. To defuse this terrible situation, Hunkar takes his grandmother and accompanies her to bed. She gently lets herself be guided towards the room, but as Hunkar prepares her for the night, Hamminne has yet another awakening in her brain, and this time she speaks of Hamminne with terrible hatred. She threatens her that if she does not accept that life in silence, her parents will find a way to punish her, and she continues to utter nasty threats against her, accompanied by many bad words, such as if she still had a little girl in front of her. Hunkar listens in silence and, continuing to look after the old mother, represses all the pain he is feeling at that moment, thus managing to put her to bed. But those stab wounds hurt her a lot and tear her heart apart. Thinking of her Fakeli, whom she has always loved throughout her life, never being able to shout him from the rooftops, but keeping that great love for him exclusively in her heart. And what do you think of these dramatic revelations? Write it in the comments. We will be happy to read your emotions. Before you go, don't forget to leave a nice like on the video, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to stay up to date. See you in the next video.